Hello, fellow members of the Midnight Society. Welcome back to another episode review from the show Are You Afraid of the Dark? Last time, we covered The Tale of the Ghastly Grinner, a Betty Ann story about an aspiring artist who brings an evil comic book character to life. Tonight's narrative, from Tucker, is about a couple of kids tormented by a ghost at a fire station. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this Season 4, Episode 10, The Tale of the Fire Ghost. We open on Sam and Kiki in the middle of an argument. Apparently, Kiki let Sam borrow her favorite sweater and it got stolen out of Sam's locker. Kiki is blaming Sam for this, but how is that her fault? Anyway, the fight gets interrupted by Tucker running in like a maniac.
What's going on?
Real nice, dipshit. You guys barely pour any water on the fire at the end of the night as it is. Now what are you gonna do?
Oops.
Gary starts getting on Tucker's case about the spill, and then Kiki and Sam get back at it until everyone is arguing. Finally, like an angry mother, Betty Ann has had enough.
How about we all just settle down and start the meeting?
With the kids now on timeout, Tucker gives the preamble to his story.
It might be kind of hard to cool down, because my story has to do with fire.
Really? We're opening with puns, are we?
All right, everyone. Chill.
Tucker says that fire can cause horrible destruction.
I'm talking about the damage it can do after it's been put out.
Yeah. Wait, what? Okay, somebody get on the phone with all the fire departments and tell them to stop putting out fires. They are apparently more dangerous after they're out. So, just let the motherfuckers burn. The tale begins on some people sneaking into a room and grabbing some matches. We then cut to the upstairs at a fire station. The alarm goes off and a lone firefighter hops on a pole and rides it. That sounded dirtier than I intended it. Anyway, he goes to save some people. Abusing the firehouse alarm for a birthday surprise seems foolish. It's the alarm. Should we go? No, it's probably just another birthday alarm. The duped firefighter is the father of our two main characters, Jimmy and Roxy. Their parents are divorced. Of course they are. I mean, why wouldn't they be? They are friendly, but Jimmy is angry at his father for the separation, causing him to be all angsty and sit alone in a corner at the party. The birthday boy receives some spiked golf shoes from his ex and his kids, but his daughter also has a bonus gift for him.
Hey, it's
It's a nose ring.
What? Your dad is a firefighter. Why would you think that's a good gift? He can't wear jewelry on the job, and the last time I checked, country clubs with golf courses kind of frown on the whole punk rocker look.
But that's gonna change, I promise.
The kid's mom has to leave the party early because she is needed at the hospital. Wait, the mom is a doctor and the dad is a firefighter, but the dad is getting all the blame for the divorce? Jimmy, it sounds like both your parents have incredibly time-consuming careers, which probably had a big part in their decision to divorce, especially if they're remaining friendly. You need to chillax, bro.
Promised you won't get mad.
There's a brownout at the station, and the captain blames it on a fire ghost. Roxy asks about it, but her father says there's no such thing, and then this happens.
Jimmy!
I'm sorry. Did the director tell you what you were supposed to be reacting to? Okay, in this scene, Jimmy is leaving, but he forgot his keys. And action.
Jimmy!
Also, that much glass being shattered on little Jimmy there would have probably cut up his scalp and neck, not just a minor cut on his hand. He was showered in glass. Anyway, his dad takes him off to bandage his hand, and I'd love to talk about that, really I would, but I'm distracted. Why does Roxy seem so familiar? Wait, is that little Cleo from the Tale of the Guardian's Curse? It is! Whoa, wow, slumming it with a firefighter and a doctor now, huh? I guess having a step mummy didn't work out after all. Yeah, you like that, Tucker? Yeah, you do, you little pun-opening shit. I would like to apologize to any fans of Tucker out there. I'm not apologizing that I hate him. I'm just sorry that you have no class. I would like to apologize for my previous apology. I'm not sorry about what I said, but I'll be sorry if you stop watching because I I need your views. This feels on par with most YouTube apologies. Jimmy insists on bandaging his own hand, which results in his dad apologizing for missing his game last week. It then comes out that Jimmy's mad at his dad for never being around, but I stand by that if that's your problem, then you should be mad at your mom as well, because doctors' schedules are brutal too. I mean, Jimmy and Roxy are definitely latchkey kids. Anyway, Jimmy's dad apologizes and then makes Jimmy an offer he can't refuse.
Why don't we go get some cake? We'll sneak over to the rec room. We got a new video game last week.
But of course, before they can do any of that, the actual firehouse alarm goes off and Jimmy's dad heads off with the rest of the team to fight a fire, leaving the kids at the firehouse.
We'll do something next weekend.
I mean, you're just going to fight the one fire. The cake in the rec room will still be there when you get back, unless this is just some elaborate ruse to get away from your kids. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. We've already seen them abuse the alarm for personal reasons, so I'd say these kids are getting fire ghosted. Fire ghosted. Do you get it? Because of the name of the Sorry. Wait, do I actually hate Tucker because we're so much alike? Oh, God. Roxy attempts to call her mom, but the phone is dead, and then the power goes out, resulting in...
Who are you?
Jake Griffin. I watch the place when the others are gone.
Jake Griffin. I'm the guy nobody likes, which is why I wasn't at the birthday party. Anyway, the obvious ghost tells the kids that the wind must have knocked out the phone lines. Roxy asks him about the fire ghost, and then Jake starts to wax all intellectual about fire.
Fire's like a wild animal. It lives, it dies, and it thinks.
It also shits in the woods, hibernates in the winter, and doesn't like to be caged. You can also fetch a good price for a fire pelt on the black market. So I've heard. Jake tells the kids that the spirit of a fire lives on after the fire has been killed, and it follows firefighters back to the firehouse for revenge. And I thought the idea of a shark tracking people across an ocean to murder the family of a man who killed a different shark in Jaws the Revenge was ridiculous. Of course, now that I say it out loud, that is actually the dumber plot. Yeah.
Come and get me, you son of a bitch.
Jake warns the kids that the only way to pull a fire ghost into our world is to stare directly into the flames. Well, that's impractical. Don't people just watch fires like all the time? I mean, there are YouTube videos of fake fires burning in a fireplace. There'd be fire ghosts all over the place if that were the case. Anyway, Jake bids the kids goodnight by saying,
The fire ghost hates firefighters. And you're the children of one of the best.
You see, this is why you don't get invited to the birthdays, Jake.
Of course, it's our job to stop it.
Later, the kids are upstairs lying on beds when Jimmy asks Roxy who she thinks is responsible for their parents splitting up. She is irritated by the question, and it seems he's asked it many times before. Jimmy is looking for someone to blame, but Roxy says that it doesn't matter who's to blame. Jimmy then sees some flames downstairs and decides to go investigate it in a way that makes me question how good a firefighter his father actually is. What are you doing? You are wearing a very flammable looking sweater. You don't just hug yourself with a candle and then slide down a pole. Also, how are there no flashlights in this firehouse? Just candles, really? Worst firefighters in Canada. Or maybe they're the best. I don't know. Maybe Canadian firefighters are just guys who get into fights using fire. Hence, all the candles.
It lures you to watch.
Once downstairs, Jake sees flames appear in the equipment room. Jake, I believe the words you're looking for are, Roxy, there's a f***ing fire down here. We need to get outside right now. Jake, come to your f***ing job. I know I'm 12 and I shouldn't say f*** so much, but there's a f***ing fire in here.
I can do it.
He doesn't say any of that, of course, and instead does the one thing he was warned not to do when dealing with a fire ghost. Jimmy gets a jump scare from Roxy before the phone starts ringing. Jimmy answers it, but the line is still dead. Someone then starts to taunt the kids on the phone before Jimmy gets attacked by a fire hose. As Roxy struggles to free her brother, a firefighter appears and... Well, that seemed like he was helping you guys, so it's probably Jake. I mean, I'm sure he'll clear this all right up so as not to terrify the children any further. Or maybe that's the fire ghost who's terrible at aiming with an axe?
Jake!
Hey Jake, you know what works better than menacingly stalking the people you're trying to protect? Verbal communication. These children wouldn't be sitting in their own urine stains right now if you just, used your words.
I know.
Jake tells the kids to get outside, but to be careful because fire ghosts can be tricky. Just like a wild animal, eh, Jake? Anyway, Roxy asks how he knows so much about the fire ghost, and he says...
Takes one to know one.
Okay, if one ghost wasn't enough to make these kids wet themselves, I'm pretty sure two would about do it.
What do you think?
Fire blocks the exit, so the kids head out through the window that broke earlier. Right through the nice, safe, jagged, shard-filled window frame. Once outside, the kids encounter...
Easy. I'm not going to hurt you.
Oh man, are we glad to see you.
Oh, somehow I doubt that.
Yeah, tell me about it. A new character with only 10 minutes left in the episode? This is the other ghost, isn't it?
The what?
The kids tell the cop that the fire ghost is after them, and you can tell that he is not a real cop because he doesn't even check them for drugs. The kids head back into the firehouse with the cop, who apparently buys his shirts 3 sizes too big. The kids lead him to the equipment room, but when he finds it empty, he tells the kids to get inside it while he checks the rest of the place. They protest, but he exerts his authority as an officer of the law by saying, "Do it!" The cop then reveals himself to be a street magician? I think he's supposed to be the fire ghost, but with flair like that, he should be working Vegas for sure.
Was that right?
The kids run from the fire ghost and encounter Jake again. He says that he's been protecting them, but he's disappointed because Jimmy looked into the flame which summoned the fire ghost. He then gives Jimmy some inappropriate shoulder touching while telling him that since he released it, he has to stop it. Fortunately, you kill a fire ghost the same way you kill any fire, which is with a double tap, I assume. Though we don't get that far because despite the fact that there's a malevolent spirit burning things, Jake has time to tell the kids his backstory.
I used to be a member of this engine company.
Turns out Jake died in a fire they were fighting, which apparently created the fire ghost. The kids learn that their father was fighting that same fire with Jake and blamed himself when Jake didn't make it out, but Jake says,
Sometimes things just happen. You can't always be looking for someone to blame.
Hold on. So your sister said basically the same thing as the ghost, but her, right? You're gonna listen to budget Clint Eastwood over here?
This one's crafty.
Jake says that the fire ghost will go after the firefighters, so they have to stop it before they get back. Jimmy asks how to lure it out, and Jake says,
All we need is a little bait.
You hear that, little piggy? You're the bait. So Jimmy taunts the ghost to come and get him.
Are you gonna come and get me? Or are you afraid?
Oh my god. If the rest of the episode turned into Home Alone with the fire ghost getting lured into a bunch of psychotic traps set by the kids with cartoon-like results, it would have been totally worth the price of admission. I also would have accepted a twist ending where Jake turned out to be the fire ghost, because remember, they're tricky.
We know enough not to be tricked.
Sadly, neither of those things happen. The ghost comes out and gets hit by a fire extinguisher wielded by Roxy. The kids then start to celebrate with Jake, but it seems that they might have popped the cork on the sparkling cider a little too early.
I never saw anyone work a fire extinguisher.
Jimmy gets an idea and decides to use a little parental reverse psychology on the fire ghost.
I hate fire. Do anything, but please don't use fire.
The plan works and the fire ghost says flame on, using a pretty decent effect that still holds up today. The flames kick on the firehouse sprinkler system and the fire ghost meets its demise.
You cursed rat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting!
Sorry, wrong clip, but you get the idea. With the ghost vanquished, Jake says that his work is done and he heads off to the big firehouse in the sky. Of course, he does this right before the rest of the firefighters get back to the fire station, so the kids can't prove they encountered ghosts, and it just looks like they started a fire while everyone was away. If they tell a tale about ghosts, then they're both getting sent for mental health evaluations, for sure. You couldn't have just stuck around 1 minute just to say, hey, you got good kids, and they saved the firehouse, and, you know, I think you'd look really good in that nose ring.
I think Jake's been wearing his helmet a little too tight.
The kid's dad is confused, but the kids give him a hug and all is well. Tucker ends the tale by saying that the fire ghost was never seen again, and the kids started spending a lot more time with their dad. Well, yeah, but that's only because the fire ghost is way more interesting than the boring ghost that haunts the hospital their mom works at. After the story, Sam gives Kiki money for her lost sweater.
It was my fault that your sweater got stolen, and I hope that's enough to buy you a new one.
How was it your fault? Someone stole it out of your locker. Don't be a victim, Sam. It's not who you are. Ask Frank.
So, we going out or what?
It's a real hot offer, but I just think you need to cool off.
Kiki admits that the sweater going missing wasn't all Sam's fault and splits the money with her. Everyone heads out while Gary and Tucker put out the fire using sand since they have no water, and yeah, that's probably way more effective than what you guys usually do. Wait, is the episode trying to imply that the fire ghost exists in the real world? And if he does, can someone give me tickets to his show at the Bellagio?
Come on, I'll fix you up.
Now for the review. I think this was a pretty solid episode. This is another one that I never saw as a kid, so no nostalgia goggles, and I think it has a lot going for it. A decent story, great effects, and okay makeup. The acting is a little all over the place, and I wish we could have had more shenanigans involving the fire ghost, but otherwise, my complaints are light.
Looks like you're gonna be here for a while. Might as well make yourselves at home.
The setting was an awesome change-up from the typical fare. Though we do spend the entire episode in the firehouse, I do wish we could have seen some parts of it used a bit more with the story, but, I mean, it lent itself to some very creepy atmosphere.
Don't scare me like that.
The story. Another mark in the win column. I thought the idea of the fire ghost was very interesting, though I do wish the way to stop him would have been more than just douse him in water. I mean, not as lame as Master Raymond getting defeated by wind in The Tale of the Whispering Walls, but close. I also could have done without the family drama. The fire ghost story was enough without Jimmy needing to blame someone for his parents' divorce. It felt like someone remembered last minute that this was a kids show and tacked it on.
Don't listen to him.
The scares. I think for a kid this would be pretty scary. Fire is terrifying by itself, but couple that with a decent makeup job on the fire ghost and the performance, and you have a spooky combination. I could have used a bit more atmospheric dread, like doing something with shadows from the flames or just featuring more fire. Younger me probably would have found this one scary. I mean, Backdraft came out before it, and that movie made me respect Kurt Russell and fear fire all at the same time.
Check that door for heat, Tim.
The acting in this episode was varied. Roxy was great, but I rember her being good in The Tale of the Guardian's Curse, so no surprise there. Jimmy was serviceable. He wasn't bad, but I don't think he was terribly good either. I never really felt his fright, and you all know how I feel about that.
There's gotta be someone to blame.
The adult acting in this episode was also varied. I won't be covering the mom or the other firefighters, but I found the kid's dad to be the weakest performer. Like father, like son, I guess. Jake was terrific. He delivered every line with such gravitas that you really just couldn't help but be engaged when he spoke. The fire ghost was also solid. His straight-laced cop was believable, and he brought some joyful menace when he was playing the villain in full makeup.
You can't stop me any longer.
Tucker, The Tale of the Fire Ghost, meets the approval of the Midnight Society. The Midnight Society members poll on this one was, at the time of recording this video, 88% in favor of with 12% against, so my ruling stands. Good night, Tucker. Good work. Sleep well. I'll most likely kill you in the morning.
Inconceivable.
I want to thank the following Midnight Society members for participating in this video's poll. Oh man, Not another birthday party. Gotta go. Names are on the screen. Jake, save me some cake. Wait, you guys have male strippers dressed as firefighters at an actual fire station? What did you all think of Tucker's story? Did you see it as a kid? What would you do if you were stopped by a cop who looked like a child dressed in adult clothing? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out the next episode on the tale of the Closet Keepers. Until then, are you afraid of the dark?
Jimmy!
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you thought this episode was fire... I'm sorry, I'm stupid. Anyway, give it a like, give it a share. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. You the usual thing. Thanks, everyone.